Cordy, and I don't like the tune Giant Steps. It's a bit of a confession. I know it seems a maverick and perhaps even outrageous thing to say, but that's what today's video is about. So the tune that you heard me playing in the opening there is a tune by John Coltrane called Central Park West, and I think it was initially recorded a year after Giant Steps, which I think comes from kind of my golden era of jazz, which is 1959, and that's a dog barking. So in 1959, John Coltrane also played on Kind of Blue, the Miles Davis album. Also there's a Dave Brubeck album that came out in 1959. Anyway, there's just a bunch of really good jazz stuff came out then. But Giant Steps, I've never really heard anyone play anything over it to this day, where I thought that sounds really cool, that's something I would like to be able to play. So probably like most of you, it's something I've worked on as a tune and as an exercise, but it's never really been something that connected with me, and I thought I want to play like that. However, I asked David Beebe, the jazz badger from up north, if he had any recommendations for a Coltrane ballad. I think he's a bit of a Coltrane fan, and he came out with this Central Park West, and I listened to this tune, and I thought that sounds like the slower cousin of Giant Steps, if you get what I mean. As in, you know, he's a slow cousin. So this tune is made up of 2/5/1s in the same way that Giant Steps is, and they're a certain interval apart. I think if you'll notice, so you've got the 2/5/1 in B, a 2/5/1 in D, so those are a minor third apart, and 2/5/1 in A flat, and then 2/5/1 in F. So they're all related by a minor third, as it happens. So I think Giant Steps is based on jumps of a major third, which gives it a sound, and Central Park West is based on these 2/5/1s that jump around a minor third, which for me, I think this tune to me sounds more classic, and it's a ballad, and so that's the sort of thing that I want to play all the time. Anyway, I heard this tune and I instantly said to David, thank you for sending me that, that's a really, really cool tune. So I've been working on that since about Monday, and you heard the first take or something through the tune, and then at the end of the video I'll put some other little bits of stuff. But I thought, what is a tune like this useful for? And I think most of all this shows us how John Coltrane kind of thought about practice and his methods. So people talk about practicing 2/5/1 licks all the time. If you check out a channel like Jens Larson or etc., or Learn Jazz Standards, they talk about practicing 2/5/1 licks. But when it comes to doing that, if you were to do that through a tune like Autumn Leaves, there's only so many 2/5/1s in that tune, and they all happen to be pretty much in the same key. You know, you get a few 2/5/1s in whatever the home key is that you're playing it in, whether it's in G or if you're playing it in B flat, you'd have a few 2/5/1s in B flat. What you have with a tune like Central Park West or a tune like Giant Steps is you've got a high density of 2/5/1s in kind of disparate keys, so you've got 4 keys within one tune, and so that gives you a way to kind of practice 2/5/1s through many keys if that's what you're looking to do. So you might choose a 2/5/1 lick that you like the sound of, so I'll just pick something like this. So you've got that in your home key or your first key, your B major, and then for the next 2/5/1, which happens to be in D major, you could do the same thing again. And then you've got one in A flat major, right? So then one in G minor. So you could do something like that, just take one simple phrase through the entire tune, and I think that's possibly part of the reason that John Coltrane happened across these things that we now know as kind of Coltrane changes, kind of cycles through a few keys. So whether it's 3 like Giant Steps or 4 like Central Park West, there's a few tunes like this where this kind of became his thing, and I think it's because you can kind of easily practice lots of things through those tunes, and you have a high density of 2/5/1s, which is kind of the material that you might want to practice in this way. So that's kind of all I just wanted to point out about tunes like this, is that so it's a really useful way to kind of take something like this and play it through a few different keys. And the other thing to do is to try and kind of keep things neat and together a little bit. So you'll start off, as I'm doing here, kind of jumping around the fretboard a bit, but what you want to aim to do is kind of try and keep them close together. So you might limit yourself to a certain area of the fretboard and stuff like that. So that's just a really kind of simple reason that you might want to check out some of these tunes. And the reason that I gave up on Giant Steps was because it doesn't really sound like a tune that I want to play, but Central Park West contains most of the same kind of material and most of the same kind of opportunity to practice 2-5-1s through 4 key centers. And so that for me is a tune that I can get on board with, and I think one of my favourite Coltrane tunes that I've heard for sure, so thanks to David Beebe for that. But yeah, if you wanted the chord melody and the backing track, I'm going to put them up on Patreon, and yeah, I've put together sort of a skeleton of what I'm kind of thinking when I'm playing it, the chord melody part of it, which I think is a fairly important way to start learning a tune. But yeah, take your 2-5-1 licks through a tune like this to really get the benefit out of them. Thank you for watching. If this sort of video is the kind of thing you like to watch, there's plenty more of it on the channel. If you could like and subscribe, that would really help. And also if you could leave a comment and telling me what other Coltrane tunes I should check out, since I really like this one. Thank you for stopping by. Cheers.